Gaslight, Gatekeep, Girlboss, Jet.
Yeah,
He's doing what he's gonna do.
that's his MO. And it
I'm
works
gonna try
for
to
most of the
defend
episode.
Jet.
And Katara and Sokka fight because she just thinks that he's jealous. And he's
Hmm.
like, no, you're not seeing that he's terrible, actually. And so Sokka
Which is
ends
like
up,
fair. Like they would believe that. Like they would be like, no, we were having this argument earlier, so this obviously has to do with that. And he's like, I know it seems like that, but
but it's not.
this is
Yeah.
real. Like, yeah,
It's a very, the way
it's
that they
hard to.
lay and like set the situation up, it's very easy to see why all of the characters feel and believe the way they do in those moments. Like
Yes,
it very
yes.
much makes sense and is in line with all of them
Hmm.
and how they all operate and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, so Sokka hears them in the middle of the night, the freedom fighters, and he decides
Hmm.
to follow them. And he overhears them planning to blow up the dam, which will flood a Earth Kingdom like village, but it'll wipe out all the fire. They're trying to wipe out all the Fire Nation
Hmm.
soldiers there, and even I think it's the Duke. Maybe it's either the Duke
Yeah, he says,
or
aren't there? It's the little
innocent
one,
people. Yeah,
innocent people there.
yeah.
Hmm.
And Jed is like, well, that's the cost of war. He's like, that's part
Yeah,
of it. And you're like, oh, well, that's
she's
not
like,
great.
whoa, yeah, that's
He's like, they don't.
intense.
He's like, they don't understand the demands of war, like not like you and I do. And it's like, okay, well, we know exactly like where you are now as far as your
Yeah,
moral lines and the fact that they don't really exist.
really exist. And he says
Like he
this to
has.
Sokka, and he tries to like pull Sokka, and he's like, "No,
Mhm,
you get it. Like you're like we know together. Like this is something they've affected us.
mhm.
That's our enemy.
Yeah,
We have to
which
do
like
what we can." And
yeah, he says that because
manipulate.
also they do catch Sokka spying on them, and they're like, "Hey, what are you
Yeah,
doing, bro? Like, get over here!" And
yeah.
so that's when Jet's like explaining that and saying that they'll do what they have to do, and so they hold
Mhm.
Sokka and they are taking him on a long walk, is what Jet says. Which also I feel like the implication there is that at the end of that long walk they're gonna kill him. Like
Yeah,
I feel
like
like
you're going
that's
swimming with the fishes. Like that's
yeah, like they don't obviously
like
get there and say that because it's a kids cartoon on Nick in 2005, but like
true,
that
true.
definitely feels like the like take them on a long walk thing. You're like, oh man, like all
I actually
right,
never
dude.
thought of that. You're right. Like at the end, were they probably going to kill him? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I feel like that's definitely what he wanted them to do.
Or they could have
Um,
said like they'll tie him up in the village and be like, he tried to save them.
and he was just like, yeah, a
Yeah,
casualty of war. Like,
casualty.
he was in
Hmm.
the wrong place at the wrong time.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what they do. And then Jet comes back and to Aang and Katara is like, oh yeah, Sokka and I like talked it out, and he like apologized and stuff. Because Katara, of course, being head over heels for Jet, is like, I'm sorry for the way that Sokka's been acting. Like, I know he's been super rude. And he's like, oh no, it's fine. We're bros. Like, he's on a secret mission right now, actually, being held hostage, really, but he's working with
Yeah,
him. And then so he's bringing,
liar. Ugh,
yeah, it just
that's
manipulation to the
doing what
highest,
men do best. Lie,
which is a lie, cheat, and steal.
lie, cheat, and steal.
And so that's what he does, and he gets Katara and Aang to come along, and he's like, I need you guys to get the water to fill up the dam. I forget even what he tells them is the point of that, because like there's no, I feel like the only
Oh wait,
logical
yeah,
thing,
he does
because
say
he's,
something though. He's like, we need to fill it up for
for what reason though? I don't think I took a note on this,
I don't know either. Oh, they
but he does.
need a water supply?
Nope, I'm not even sure. I don't
I
even.
forget.
I
It's in the episode though.
yeah.
Guys, trust us. It's there.
He says some lie to Aang and Katara to
Hmm.
get them to fill the river with more water so that the dam can
Hmm.
be full whenever they his actual plan whenever they go to blow the dam, and it'll flood the
Hmm.
village. And then also before this, I did want to make note. It's an important line when Sokka is talking to, I think, the Duke and it might be Smeller B actually, and Pipsqueak, I think might be the two that are like escorting
Hmm.
Sokka
Hmm.
away. That sounds right. But he's like
Yeah, because
talking to them, and
Pipsqueak is
he's
the big one.
yeah, and he's like, "Why are you following him? Like this is clearly wrong." And their response
Hmm.
is, "Jet's a great leader. We follow what he says, and things turn out okay." And I think it's a really important thing for them to emphasize the problem of just blindly following a leader
Yeah.
because they're the leader and like things are fine, but like not thinking more about what that is and like what you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, it's just important to highlight that, and the fact that they're doing that again in a kids show in
In
2005
a
is
kid show,
wild.
it's so complex, but it's nuanced. Like they do it in
Hmm.
such a in an easy, digestible way, but without taking away the weight of it and like the actual
Hmm.
message.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
really
great.
it's incredible that they do that, honestly.
And again,
And
like it's the point of the episode about like leadership and Sokka's struggle with
so
wanting to be a leader.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about the fact that yeah, the episode opens with him like them arguing about leaders and like why does everyone need to be a leader, and then the
Hmm.
huge emphasis is like the fact that he's not a good leader actually, like not
Yeah,
Sokka
like
but
Jet
Jet
is that
is.
leader that he wants to be, but it
Mhm.
turns out that's
It
it's
shows the
not right.
problems with that and how it
It's
needs to
problem.
be more
Hmm.
complex, and you need to be more like democratic in the like the solutions that
Yes.
you come up with, and
Hmm.
like you can't just like have one person who has their idea of what's right and like that's it. Like you need
Hmm.
to be smarter about it than that. So that's important, and again just wild that it's in the show. And so we
Yeah.
get that, and we get Katara and Aang going to the reservoir, and they do that, or well they fill up the river, and then
Hmm.
Katara's like, "Oh, let's go to where Jet is and like meet up with him." Even though Jet was like,
Hmm.
"No, go back to the camp," because he obviously
Yeah.
doesn't want them to figure out the plan. And she's like, "No,
Also,
I'm
wait,
sure
this
he'll."
is the first time also Aang and Katara water bend water that they can't see.
Can't see. Yeah, which
Yeah,
she
which
makes a
is
big
interesting.
point about that. And like,
Yeah.
I also love Aang's little insecurity for a moment where like, because Jet tells Katara, he's like, "Oh, I'm sure like a waterbender is like talented as you, like will be able to do it," and you know that
Hmm.
reassures her. And then Aang is like, "What about
Filling
me?"
her
And
out.
he's like, "You're the Avatar kid, like you'll do it."
Yeah.
But I just love
He's like,
that
shut
Aang is
up and
like,
just
"Hey,
do it.
I need the encouragement too, man. Like, come on."
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. So
Cute.
they do that. They
Mhm.
fill up the river, and they go to where Jet is, and they immediately see like what's going on. They see the explosives there. I love how instantly Aang puts it together, which like part of that is the fact that
Yes.
like they're on a short runtime and they need the plot to go fast. So like
Yeah.
but like I love how like Aang sees it and like
But
two
like you
seconds
don't
later,
feel that. Yeah.
yeah, but like I love how 2 seconds later he's like, "Oh, they're about to blow this dam and like flood this entire village," and Katara just being in like disbelief, and he's like, "No, he wouldn't do that."
Denial. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jet's like, "Nah, I would though, actually." Like,
And that's the thing, like with I just like I know women before who there's a guy where we're like, no, he's a bad guy. And they're like, no, like I know him. He wouldn't do that.
mhm.
That's not him. And I feel like we've all had a moment maybe like that where we're like, that's not that person.
Yeah, but like it is that person.
But it is that person.
And
And like
it's also funny
it's a
too because
great
I
point
feel
to
like
make.
not funny, it's pretty tragic every time that
Oh.
happens, like both in stories and in real life, but I feel like
Yeah.
in a lot of those instances too where people are like, "Oh no, they're not like that." The person that they're defending will be the first person to say, "No, I am like that." Like whenever
Yeah.
the like cards are down, like the chips are on the table, they're like, "No, that's me, actually."
Hmm.
Like, and people just want to not believe them or take them on their word at that. Like it takes more convincing because they have this idealized version of who they are, and so it like
Hmm.
clashes so hard with the reality of the situation. And so that's why it takes Katara. She's like, "No, like I can't believe this." And then we get one of my favorite 1v1s in the entire series, honestly, when Aang and Jet
Yes.
start fighting. They're fighting through the trees and stuff, and it's just awesome. Like,
It's the best use to Jet does this really cool thing with his weapons where one of them he'll throw, but he'll catch with the other one. So he like
mhm,
elongates his
mhm,
weapons by putting
yeah,
the two of them together, but without them falling apart.
because
I
they
don't
have the
know. It's
hooks on the
sick.
ends,
The
so
hooks
it's
on the
able to
ends,
like
yeah,
yeah hook together.
hook on.
It's
It's
so cool.
crazy.
He uses them so ingeniously, and like also just the setting, like we are saying, looks so cool, them fighting through the trees. And it's also
Hmm.
cool to see someone who's not a bender go toe to toe
Fight the
with the
Avatar.
yeah the avatar, like the master airbender. Like it's wild, and
That's crazy.
it's such a good fight. It's done so well, and they both like have moments where they get the upper hand on each other, and like it's just
Hmm.
great. The sequence is
And I
so
think this
cool.
is one of the first, not one of the first, but definitely like an early instance of Aang using defensive airbending and like learning
Hmm.
what Boomy taught him about like you're gonna have to use defensive techniques. You can't just keep being offensive. Like you have
Hmm.
to hit back. You have to
Yeah,
put them down. And
it's awesome. Yeah,
he
I
like
love
starts
whenever
doing that here.
yeah, whenever he first like gets the upper, or not first, whenever he gets the upper hand for a second, where he's just like, absolutely, he's throwing so much air at Jet, and
Yes.
like it's a huge
You
funnel of
see
air
the
on the
wind
bridge.
streams. Yeah, you see the
Yeah,
funnels.
which is just like it's so cool. It's such a good visual. So that whole fight is awesome. But then Jet gets the upper hand on him actually by the end. Like Jet pretty much like
Mm-hmm.
wins, but then Katara comes in and like saves the day and is like
Yes!
coming in and it's like nope, like I'll come in. Jet, you're wrong.
Justice!
Yeah, and it's great. It's awesome that she comes in and does that, and then ends up freezing him,
So
which is such a
good.
it's such a sick like,
It's
and
so good.
it's
In my notes, I wrote like, oh, there was many a man. I wish I could do this too. How good that must have felt for her. How
oh yeah, and she's
awesome that scene
also
is.
she like freezes him, which is such a cool animation to see just like go up like
Yes.
and like encase his entire body. And I love her just the pain in her voice whenever she's like, "You're sick, and I trusted you,
Mm-hmm.
like I believed in you, and you're awful. Actually, like this is terrible." And
Felt.
you feel it,
You really feel it. And
and
I love it's such a moment that could so easily be taken as that fake like feminism moment. Girls get
mhm,
it done. Girls can do it. But it's like this is all worked for. This is all justified. And this is all like this
mhm.
is when it's done well. Like this is what I really want from those types of shows and the type of writing is I
It's
want to
such
see
good
it done this
drama.
well. Like it's such good
It's
drama and it's such a good it's like for a kid that and I say this again, like it's a good little like feminist moment. And like a good like
mhm,
early on, like, girl, if he's not what you thought and he's lying to you, take control. Don't let the boy just fight for you. You can also fight.
yeah,
Like you
and
can
it's
fight the
great.
boy.
And
And
she
it's
does
like,
that, and she's the
hey,
one who like
she's the one who wins.
yeah, she's the one who solves the like the solution for them, which is
Hmm.
great. And I also love like it's such a great dramatic moment when after he's frozen and there's the shot of Aang and Katara like walking towards him, and just the framing of it is great. And that's when she starts being like, "You're terrible," and like, "I can't believe I trusted you." And it's just like the drama all just building to the moment is fantastic. But then Jet, being the terrible person that he is, still like
Hmm.
whistles for the dam to be blown up because he's like, "It doesn't matter, you're too late. Like everything's
Yeah.
already in place." Like, and
Damn.
Aang and Katara are like,
Such a
hopefully
good villain.
Sokka got the. Oh yeah, it's a great villain moment. He's like, "Oh well, you're screwed still, actually."
Yeah, I can still
like,
whistle. Hmm.
which like rookie mistake, Katara. Come on, you should have covered his
Mm,
mouth.
yeah.
But they're like, well, hopefully Sokka got there in time to stop it, and he didn't. He didn't for the
Hmm.
actual explosion, and so we see the entire town get absolutely wrecked and flooded. But of
And we think
course,
they lose. Yeah.
yeah, we think they lose. It's great that they hang on to that for like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You're like, oh no, like they actually lost. But then Sokka comes up on Appa and like over the hill and is like, don't worry,
Appa to
I
save
got
the
it.
day.
Yeah, I got everyone to safety. And I love how also they're able to pull back. Like they make it a joke line kind of, but the fact that they're like, oh, your instincts told you to like go to the town, like to warn the people instead. And then they
Hmm.
also explained that the reason the people in the town were able to listen to him is because the one old dude who he had
Yes.
tried to defend earlier in the episode is like, nah, he's a good guy actually. He's telling the
Yeah.
truth. And so that's how they're able to evacuate everyone. So even though the town got destroyed, all the people are alive still. And I love Jet trying to justify it as in he's like, we were trying to free them. And Sokka goes, who would be free? Everyone would be dead.
Be
Like
dead.
there's no
Ugh.
one would be free there. And he calls him a traitor because he stopped fighting for people. Like is
Hmm.
just fighting for his own like revenge, essentially.
I feel like this
And
was Sokka's version of Imprisoned. This is like what Imprisoned did for Katara.
mhm,
This episode did for Sokka.
yeah, it's so good. It's great.
Hmm.
So we get that, and Katara just like leaves Jet there, which is great. She's like, no,
Period.
you're
Like you
it's
could
fine.
defrost on your own. You'll get
Which
out
is so
eventually.
it's so hilarious. That bro definitely would have had hypothermia.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
but it's fine.
period. It's
So yeah,
fine.
they leave him
You can
there, and
suffer.
again, they fly away on Appa into the sunset, which is how they tend
Most of these
to
episodes end. Yeah.
again. But it's so good, it works. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Type thing.
Exactly. And it worked. It's justified. Again, like we've said
It's always
multiple times.
it is just amazing stuff all across
But
the
I
board.
love this episode so much. It's so good. There's so many great moments. I love like the great love-hate relationship with Jet. Also,
Hmm.
for my anime fans out there, Jet is inspired by Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop.
Nice.
Which, as we'll see a lot of Cowboy Bebop inspiration in this entire show. The
Mhm.
creators loved it, but I just think that is a great little comparison, and they even
Yeah.
have like very similar personalities.
You can
Um,
definitely see it in his like demeanor and especially his
oh
face and
yeah, the
like the
demeanor on
hair
the
because
face,
like
the hair, it
I haven't
spikes me.
seen Cowboy Bebop, but I've seen GIFs and like images and
Oh,
stuff,
it's
and
so
like
good.
like if you put them side by side, you're like, oh yeah.
And I think that's why I love Jet, because I'm like, I love Spike Spiegel. So, hey, Aspect listener, enjoying the show?
Then be sure to subscribe here on The Aspect so you never miss an episode.
And check out more episodes and clips on our playlist here.
Thanks so much for watching, and
Lameo Hotman.